Hey there, this is Ill Factor from BeatAcademy.com. Now, some things go really well together. Peanut butter and jelly, bagel and cream cheese, Daft Punk and vocoders. And some things go together but not so well, like working on music and then feeling like it's never good enough. And this was my struggle, especially the early years of my music production career, where I would work on tracks and beats and ideas. And at that moment, it felt right, but then I just ended up walking away feeling like, it's just not good enough. Well, if you're struggling with this too, I just want to first encourage you to know that you're this is normal and you're human. And this is something that we're all going to go through as artists. So I want to share with you 4 things that can help encourage you to get over that feeling like your music just isn't good enough. Now, one thing you really have to keep in mind is that this is a normal process. It's part of the growing pains of becoming a better artist, a better music producer, a better songwriter, a better musician. And sometimes you're finding yourself that you're not where you want to be, but yet we have to turn our attention and look back and see that you're not where you used to be. And this for me has been a big key into understanding how I can continue building momentum to get over that hump of, man, I don't think my music really is good enough. And so you want to understand that the first thing you need to know is that you have to take an account to where you're currently at right now. You have to recognize that every step you're taking forward is a step forward, meaning that you got to continue practicing, you got to continuing putting in the hours and continuing working on your craft. Just stopping right in the midst just because your music isn't good enough won't really benefit you at all. So you have to continue plowing through and just continue working on your craft. Every beat you make, every song you write, every time you remix something, every time you work on your craft is a step forward in the right direction. So encourage yourself and be creative as how you can find time in your busy schedule to do exactly that. So I would recommend even doing some time blocking, maybe giving yourself about maybe an hour or so to write music and force yourself within that hour that you have to come up with something new and creative. So leave all the old ideas in the hard drive and just come up with something new for an hour. So recognize that everything you're doing from here on out is a step forward. So if it seems tedious, just know that what you're doing now is you're laying down the foundation for the long-term game. So it's a long-term game that we're doing. It's not an overnight success story here. So that's the first rule, is recognize that every step forward is a good step forward. Number 2 is writing it down. Create some kind of way, a system that you can analyze where you're currently at now and gauge it with where you were when you first started your craft. Now, if you're just getting started and you really don't have that much leadway to work with, then give yourself some time, appoint yourself, okay, by the end of this month, I'm going to take a moment to just write down what I noticed from where I'm at now, from when I started. So for instance, let's say you started making music about a year ago. Well, what you should be doing is on a sheet of paper or animal hide or whatever it is you have available, write down some of the things that you've noticed from your earlier productions to the current productions you're doing now. You notice, hey, I noticed that my drums are sounding better. Well, write that down. I noticed that my synths are sounding a little bit bigger and wider. Write that stuff down when you compare the two. And then you have a concrete you have some concrete evidence as to see, okay, I'm seeing progress here. That's good. That's going to help you and also motivate you to see there's some growing that's happening here. And sometimes what happens is we just keep doing this, keep going, and we're stuck in this hamster wheel, and we feel like no progress is being made. It is being made. It's happening very subtle, and you probably don't even notice it. So go back to some of your earlier work and listen to some of the stuff you're currently doing, and just A/B the two and write down something that you notice. It could be one thing, and just if it's subtle, then just write it down, and then just do this every probably 2 months or every 3 months, and just take that time to do that so that you can really motivate yourself to saying, okay, I am growing, I'm heading in the right direction. Now, number 3 is just keep learning. Now, if for a couple of months you don't really notice any difference, or maybe the changes are just really, really subtle, then you should just dedicate 1 month or whatever time you have for the next couple of days to just doing nothing but learning new techniques and new developments as to how to move forward with your craft. If you're a music producer and you're working on beats and you don't feel like there is a drastic change from 1 month to the next, just take the next couple of weeks and dedicate that solely to learning new things about sound design, understanding different new software, graphic interfaces mixes and things like that. And they're coming up with different types of beats and just exploring sounds and dedicating one day just to digging for samples and things like that. Just preparing yourself for success in the future is what you're really doing. You're laying down that foundation as well. So leave some room to grow. I'm always growing. There's always room to grow. Don't ever feel like you've reached your cap, you've reached your limit, and there really isn't anything new under the sun. It's just you're changing your perspective and you're humbling yourself to realize there is some room for me to grow. There's something new I can learn, something new I can experience in this whole process. So invite yourself to that. And then number 4 is just truly acknowledge some success. Having some goals in line really become beneficial for you to hit those mile markers and those milestones to realize, all right, I've come a long way. I've accomplished what I've wanted to do. 4 months from now, I wanted to learn how to make a beat. I've done that, and acknowledge that. Giving the time to really acknowledge how far you've come along really does help to analyze and think, you know what, my music might not be where I want it to be, but it's not where it used to be. And that's the mindset here that we need to have when approaching or whenever you come across that frustration of, man, I just don't feel like my music's ever good enough. I want to encourage you that, yeah, it might not be when you compare it to something you're hearing on the radio, especially if you're just starting out, but that's okay. Give yourself some realistic goals to achieve, something that you yourself can strive for, that'll give you the right momentum that you need to to take your next step forward with your music. So I hope this has been encouraging for you. My heart is just to really come alongside and help you move forward with your music, whatever that might look like. If you're producing your music, if you're a songwriter, an artist, musician. And so what I've done is I've learned these things throughout the 17 plus years that I've been producing music for a living. And I want to share more insights with you. So I've put them together all in an ebook covering the 5 essentials that you're going to need to have a successful career with your music. And so I want to give this to you absolutely free. Just go ahead and click the link below in the description box. It's an ebook that I've put together, and you can download this absolutely free. Or you can also visit www.beatacademy.com/book. Download this, absolutely yours free today. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.